Hey, fellas, I want to ask you a question. Are you really going to use AI to have celebrities on your podcast?
Hey, guys, it's me, AI Kevin Smith. You are listening to ADHP with Doug and Todd, man.
My name is AI Optimus Prime, and you are listening to ADHP with Doug and Todd. You can find them on Spotify and YouTube, as well as your favorite podcast app.
Hey, Doug, what do you want to do tonight?
Same thing we do every week, Todd. Try to record a podcast.
My brain's a rocket, can't sit still. Thoughts collide, they always spill. A million voices shout my name. Never boring, never tame. ADHD, we're running wild. Focus fading, chaotic child. Turn the volume up, take a ride. In this crazy storm, I can't hide.
About 20 minutes.
We got one person on YouTube and we have one over on Twitch. Hold on.
Well, right on. Well, is the number posted for people to see?
Yes, it's on the scroll on the bottom of the screen. Now I have the audio working.
All right, we're up and running. So this is a much more informal show than usual.
Yeah.
Usually we have a topic, and then some news items, and then some geek items, and then some weird items, and we'll probably get to some news and all that junk as we hang out here. But we're just kind of doing a hang tonight, and the phone line is open. We're looking for, and honestly, we'll chat about whatever you want. If you're trying to just troll us, we'll probably hang up and move on.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a prompt, if you want something to talk about, we're asking for your diagnosis on America. Diagnosis America. What do you think's wrong with the country? Are we on the right track, wrong track? And then, do you have a prescription on how to address what ails us? And then, how much do you think is left in this American democracy? Are we about to lose it? Do we have our republic if we can keep it? Are we keeping it? What are your thoughts? And then always, if you don't want to get heavy on the politics, you can always just come at us. Tell us your favorite bit of geeky or weird news.
What have you been binge watching this week? You know?
Yeah, what have you been binge watching? We can steal that from Jamal.
That was mine, actually.
That's funny because he had me do that when I was a guest on Not About You Pod.
That was how we ended the show. It was like, what have you been binge watching? That was the thing that I started. So yeah.
Well, we'll proudly take it here then. So will you know then when somebody calls in, Todd, and you can kind of screen them real quick? And
I mean, my phone will start ringing, and you'll probably hear it. You'll probably hear it. I can mute that line.
Ah, we're happy to hear it. We're happy to hear it.
What I mean is when it rings, I can take it offline so I can still.
Yeah.
I think I should still be able to hear it from my end. And then we'll see how it goes. But
and we also have, I'm sure there's a live chat there on YouTube.
There's a live chat on YouTube and over on Twitch. And so yeah, you guys, the numbers on the screen, it's 425-243-7571. I normally have it set as a voicemail only, but I have it enabled so it will ring through.
Phone line is open.
And give us a call.
If you haven't seen this show before, we are a politics and pop culture podcast.
Yeah.
It's attention deficit hyperactive politics with Doug and Todd. I'm Doug. That's Todd.
He's a little bit political, and I'm a little bit pop culture.
Yeah, we have our lanes, and we stick to our lanes, but we're very curious about the others. And I'm a nerdy guy too, just not, and it's not like Todd doesn't know what's going on in the world either. So we dabble in the other side.
I just don't live on the 24-hour news cycle. I don't think Doug does either, but I'm just saying that I don't pay attention to it that closely, and then when I do see stuff, I'm like, oh my God, really?
Well, I do follow the 24-hour cycle in terms of my phone, but I'm constantly anytime I open a new tab, it's just nothing but politics and pop culture stories.
Yeah.
So how was your weekend? How was your week?
It was pretty non-eventful. I I got myself a new therapist. Yay!
Oh,
I had
plus for therapy. Yeah, thumbs up for therapy.
Therapy is always good. It's someone once said to me that therapy is like unlearning all the shitty things that you grew up learning, and like
Yes.
learning how to adult by someone not in your family. Is another way of somebody putting it. So, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was playing a lot of the music off of my Suno profile, and one of them is actually a version of the theme song, but in a different style. It's the same lyrics and everything, but the music's different.
Oh, okay.
It's
Is that one I made or you made?
it's one that I made off of yours. I did the
Remixed it or whatever?
the remix thing, and I told it to do it in the style of Issaquah post-punk, so it sounds like Modest Mouse.
Modest Mouse.
Yeah. And today I discovered how to get it to sound like Alice in Chains. So I'm really happy. I've been making all kinds of stuff today.
Oh, and I'm sure those bands will be well credited.
I'm not stealing their lyrics. I'm inspired by their sound is what it is.
we're just borrowing their essence.
Yeah, And Suno's a lot of fun, especially if you want to hear a specific style of music and you want a topic that is, something you enjoy. So lately I've been doing a lot of like thrash and death metal style music, and I've been doing stuff about pop culture, some of my favorite fandoms. So there's a lot of songs about Star Wars and Ghostbusters and Transformers, and it all sounds like Metallica and shit. So,
Yeah. Fun fact: our theme song was literally the first thing I ever created on Suno. The very first thing.
Yeah. And it's a good song. It's definitely an earworm, man. It
is absolutely an earworm.
It sticks in my head for about 48 hours after I hear it.
And every single one of the people that I've talked to, both of them, who have listened to our show, other than us, they both talk about how they get the song stuck in their head all the time.
Yeah.
So that's a plus.
So yeah, I put the version of my version of the song is on my profile. It's the first song that's listed there. Racing Minds, was it Racing Minds?
Spinning Wheels.
Spinning Wheels.
Yeah, Racing Minds, Spinning Wheels. Are we gonna hear some of it?
I can play. Yeah, hold on.
I wasn't here for the interlude.
Can you hear that? Can you hear it?
My brain's a rocket,
Doug?
can't sit still.
I don't think I am.
It's playing.
At first, I could tell there's something going on.
How about now?
Never boring, never
Yeah,
It's the technical difficulty show.
it's you know what it is? It's Google Meet doesn't like sharing that stuff. It won't let us do it for whatever reason. Whenever
Do you have that mute sounds that's not speech thing?
Yeah, well, hold on. Use this when making calls from your computer. Prevents echo. I have that turned off, so that shouldn't be it. I don't know. I think it's because you're both on the same channel, and that's why you're not hearing it. So, if I play, you know what? Hold on, I can play it from my phone. That's what I'll do. Hold on.
Guerrilla style.
Wait a minute. Did I actually get a call? I got a missed call.
Oh, well, you've got to be on top of that.
Wait, no, that was from 8:30 this morning. Never mind. I was like, wait a minute, I had a missed call.
I had a missed call from you, but then I realized it was when I was at your house and I called my phone.
Let's see. I'll play it from my phone. That will give it it'll be on a different channel. You should be able to hear that. Okay. What?
Not allowed.
Can you hear that?
I can hear that.
Let me start it over. There we go. Like I said, I did this in the style of Izzy-Qua post-punk, so Modest Mouse.
Thoughts collide, they always spill. A million voices shout my name.
I'm not really getting Modest Mouse from this, but I definitely get a Seattle sound.
The boring never tame.
I don't know, it sounds like it to me.
ADHD, we're
But I've only heard like 3 or 4 songs of theirs on a repeat, so yeah.
I think that gives us an idea.
I think maybe the vocals are not right, but the music I think it's really bass heavy too. So I don't know.
Yeah, when I think Modest Mouse, though, I think something a little more plucky, a little more like plucking strings rather than power chords.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they definitely use power chords too, but they're very, a lot of Modest Mouse, well, not a lot of it, but they actually are one of the bands that employ like backwards guitar.
Backwards guitar? So they play
Yeah,
it
like
backwards?
you record it one way and then you play it backwards for the
okay.
record. Yeah, so they have some pretty neat riffs.
So, a little bit of trivia for people. I went to Issaquah High School in the late 80s, early 90s. And the singer for Modest Mouse was also at that same high school when I was there. He was a
You
freshman.
guys went at the same time?
He was a freshman when I was a senior. I didn't know him.
At the time, why would you? Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know him, and I don't think I would have recognized him if I saw him in the hallways. But somebody told me he went to Issaquah High School in the years he was there. I was like, well, shit, I was a senior the year he was a freshman. So I probably would have seen him had I been in the same, in the hallways at the same time as freshmen when I was a senior. But our schedules were different. Seniors had different, we would be in the hallways at different times than the freshmen.
Yeah, they generally try and separate the freshmen from the seniors.
Yeah, so, and when
That's cool, though.
when I worked at the EMP back in the early 2000s, like 2010, 2011, thereabouts, that's the Float On was on on a repeat there. It was, they had a playlist that was 30 minutes long, and the beginning of the playlist was Float On, and it had a bunch of other local Seattle bands. All of the songs were local Seattle bands, and it was on a 30-minute loop, and I heard those songs several times a day. So that song kind of is kind of ingrained in my mind as a local band, and
Yeah, Float On was basically my graduation song. I graduated in 2004 high school.
Okay.
And that was the year it came. That was, it was during its popularity, and that was our big song. I didn't go to Issaquah High School. I went to Liberty High School, which is basically the rival school of Issaquah High School.
Same district, yeah.
Yeah, and
in fact, you guys, your school actually used our field when your field wasn't working or wasn't ready to be used.
Not surprised.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, we had a piece of shit field then. We finally got a new field turf field when I was like a freshman. It looks like you're chugging Rainier right now, but I know it says Renton.
Yeah. Renton.
Renton.
Yeah, I did one of the trending things on TikTok the other day. Is hey, if you're from Washington State, let us know where you're from. And I put Seattle. I always say Seattle because no one knows where Renton is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in Port Orchard and I say Seattle.
I mean, everybody in Western Washington, they're either going to say Seattle, Tacoma, or Everett. They're never going to say where they're actually from.
Right, and even people from Everett are like, Seattle,
yeah.
North of Seattle.
And people from Tacoma are like, fuck Seattle. I'm not going to say Seattle. Fuck that. We're from Tacoma. Because, at least the people I know that live in Tacoma all say that. Because there is like an unspoken beef between Seattle and Tacoma. At least within the comedy.
There's always a little rivalry. Yeah, there's definitely a little friendly rivalry between Tacoma and Seattle. Tacoma, Tacoma, they have a lot of interesting political stuff going on in Tacoma. Got a friend who's running for city council down there, and he's getting all the endorsements. He was the photographer for Governor Inslee.
Okay.
And he's a big time photographer guy, but he's gotten into politics recently, and I know him from Narn Van.
Narn Van. I know him. I don't know him well. I know him by name, and I recognize him when I see him, but he doesn't know me. I know.
Fair enough. I mean, he might know of you. He might a little more.
I'm sure my cousin has mentioned me, or my cousin Todd, or I know that the host of Monday night's open mic in Renton will like call me out sometimes when I'm in the audience.
Which one? Which host?
Fuck.
You talking to Monty or Dylan or
Dylan.
James?
Yeah, sorry. I was my ADHD in his brain was like, it's this guy, but fuck you. You don't need to know his name. So yeah, Dylan. One of the last times I saw him down there, he was actually hosting, and he says, "Raise your hand if you're a comedian." Or raise your hand if you're not a comedian. I raised my hand. He goes, "Put your hand down, Todd. You're almost a comedian." I go, "What does that mean? Is that like Munchausen by proxy? Because I'm around a bunch of comedians. I just am one because I'm within punching distance of somebody who is one."
Well, I know in my memory, I think it's just in everybody else's memory, it feels like you've been on stage a lot more times than you claim to have been.
I literally have been on stage a total of like maybe 10 times in the last.
Which shocks
years.
me.
My first time ever on stage was at the Underground in Seattle, and I got the most laughs ever there because like half the crowd was my friends, and which is
the best way
one
to
of the
do it.
reasons why I think bringer shows are probably better because then at least people are gonna laugh, even if it is a courtesy laugh from your friends.
Right.
But, or the I've heard this so many times.
We better laugh or he gets upset.
Well, it's like last time I was down there was a couple weeks ago, and this comedian, his name is Femi. He got on stage and did this joke about autistic people, and I was sitting up front because that was the only place to sit, and I didn't want to stand. And he looks at me and goes, "This guy wants to come up on the stage and whoop my ass because of that joke." I got, no. He's like, "No, I'm just autistic." And everyone laughed. Everyone cracked up because he was making fun of autistic people. And I said, "No, I didn't laugh because I'm autistic and it wasn't funny." So, so, yeah. But he goes, "I'm sorry." I was like, "Yeah, I've heard that joke so many times I could probably recite it word for word." It's a joke that he should retire, but he still tells it because like 3 people in the back row always laugh because they're his friends. The other cringe comedians that like to go up and tell jokes that are, anti-woke or not left-leaning politically. So they'll make fun of liberals and they don't come out and say they're pro-Trump, but you might as well have, kind of thing.
You can tell.
Yeah, they voted for Trump all 3 times. But,
like, I'm not pro-Trump, but I do guest on the Steven Crowder podcast.
Yeah. So it looks like we have 1 viewer on each of the streams. Hi guys, go ahead and say something in the chat so we know you're there.
Yeah, thanks
Otherwise,
for watching.
we think you're bots. I'm pretty sure the one over on Steam is a bot, because of the restream thing here. But I don't know about the YouTube because there is someone watching over on YouTube. Let's see if I can click on that.
And just as a reminder for those listening
Steam
live, this is a politics and pop culture show. We're just kind of doing a free-form call-in episode. Just started here about 20 minutes ago. We do have some stories we could talk about while we wait see if anybody wants to call in or chat, message us. We'll read your IMs. We'll be happy to talk. Again, if you want a topic to talk about, tell us your diagnosis for America, or bring us your favorite, what you've been binge watching lately, or just a a fun
Yeah.
geek or weird story. What's the weirdest thing that's happened to you recently? Anything like that, we're happy to chat.
I did put some stories for Geek this week, and that's some weird shit for this for tonight. But we can always use those for next week, or we can talk about them. I don't know.
Well, as we need, we're probably going to need to fill some time. I mean, let's be real here. Nobody's going to call. Prove me wrong, people, but nobody's going to call.
Yeah, it looks like the person that's watching is probably just the restream thing. So it's not really a person watching. It looks like. Let's see. But
I did have one story that might be kind of weird.
Okay, what is it?
Have you heard about this? The woman who disappeared from Wisconsin 62 years ago, finally found.
I think we talked about that a couple weeks back, didn't we?
Did we already? Okay, maybe this is an old story then. It just showed up on my feed.
Yeah, because she was found, and it turns out she was trying to get away from her abusive ex and didn't want to. I guess privately she's going to reconnect with her family and stuff that didn't know she was, what happened to her.
Well, that shows you how much I pay attention to your parts of the show.
Hey, don't feel bad. It's all good.
I mean, generally I do, but yeah, I missed this one.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you give us a weird one then?
Well, one of the things I had in here, because I didn't have a lot of weird stories, so what I did was I was just looking up some like urban legends and 10 Washington State myths was one of the things that popped up on my thing, and I thought, okay, this could be interesting. This is coming from 560 KPQ 101.7 FM. I don't know where that is, but that's the website, kpq.com. I'm assuming it's a local station. It says, Washington State has its share of urban legends. Some are easily explained, others might never have any credible explanation. One is straight up spooky. Here are some of the Washington's most popular myths. Let's count them down. Number 10, lost treasure near Old Blewett. 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 In 1905, a Scottish immigrant named Thomas Douglas supposedly buried a box stuffed full of gold coins not far from his old Blewett cabin. It says in quotes here, when the neighbor looked towards Douglas's cabin, she saw a human figure bearing a large wooden box about 100 yards from the cabin. Later that night, the weather changed drastically and snow fell heavily in Old Blewett, erasing the evidence of any digging. Not long after this account, Thomas died. When the snow melted in the spring, word spread of this mystery buried box. Treasure hunters from all over the region on a wild digging spree. No one ever found the box of gold. I'd never heard of that one. Number 9 is the Vashon Island bike tree. And there's a photo of an old rusted out bike inside the trunk of an old tree. And I mean, I think most people know how that works. A tree was put up in this little tree when it was still young, and then it grew around the bike.
Yeah, it looks like the bike was probably set in the crook of a little branch or something, and then it grew around it.
Yeah. And then there's this one I didn't know. I'd never heard this one before. Number 8 is there's a giant octopus under the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. I mean, everyone has seen the video of Galloping Gertie, from like the early 1900s.
Pretty much anyone, but especially if you've been in the Northwest, you've definitely seen the undulating, flapping bridge in Tacoma.
Wasn't that the Maxwell, whatever, the company that made the audio, the recording tapes? Remember, was it Maxwell? You know what I'm talking about?
No. I mean, the video, you're talking about the video of it?
There's a commercial for Maxwell who made like audio cassettes for recording. And
okay. I knew the company. Okay, yeah.
They did a commercial where it's like, it shows the the guy who's got the turns the speakers up and it's blasting music and it causes the wine glass to move towards him.
Oh, right.
So there's that commercial, but there's also one that involved the video of Galloping Gertie, where he turns the music up and all of a sudden the whole bridge starts to undulate and starts to kind of like move around, and you see the car in the middle of the bridge kind of like swaying back and forth. So that's the only thing I've ever heard about the Tacoma Narrows. So I've never heard any stories about a
giant octopus.
A giant octopus living down there. You know, it would be really cool if there was something down there, because you know, that's
apparently it's true though.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Apparently these are all true, or what's the conceit here?
No, I don't think they are true. I think these are just popular urban legends about Western Washington.
I see. Okay.
So I mean, this is one of those things that should have been on MythBusters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it just says here one of the world's largest species of octopus does make its home in the ruins of Galloping Gertie.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I mean, but they're saying it like it's a fact, but maybe that's just how they're presenting things here. Well, the next one sounds true too. Number 7, Lake Washington underwater forest. Divers explore.
Yeah, I've heard about that. There's like, I guess
the trees were displaced by a landslide from a major earthquake along the Seattle Fault around the year 980.
Okay. I've heard that there's
but then they have Bigfoot Sasquatch, which we know, of course, is true.
Yeah, I've heard stories of like there being trains under in Lake Washington.
Trains?
Like full steam engine with like it fell.
Oh, like they ran it out there to dispose of it or something?
No, I think it fell in when they were trying to when they were originally building the floating bridge.
The original floating bridge.
Yeah, and it sank. It fell into the lake. So that's what I remember hearing. I don't know if that's true, but the video of us on camera keeps disappearing, and that's because the Google Meet keeps going. The audio's not going away, so that's good. People could still hear us. They just won't see us if I click away from it. Where was I? Oh yeah. Gosh. Brain. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, UFOs at Mount Rainier. The first recording of the word flying saucer happened. Thomas Arnold, I think his name was, who said that there was something flying near Mount Rainier that looks like saucers skipping across water. But
turns out it was just Bigfoot skipping stones.
You know, it's
that's ridiculous. UFOs, that's ridiculous. It was obviously Bigfoot skipping stones.
I mean, what's funny is there are people that believe that Sasquatch or Bigfoot are actually extra-dimensional beings, and that's why we can never see them. That's why people only hear them, and you know,
maybe Bigfoot is blurry. That's the problem. There's an out-of-focus monster roaming the countryside. And to me, that's extra scary. Run, he's fuzzy.
What is that from? That's funny.
That's Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, okay. So, I keep losing my train of thought. My train of thought was derailed, and there was no survivors.
It ended up in Lake Washington.
Yes. But yeah, Mount Rainier, I guess, is a hot spot. It says the term UFO started from reports of 9 flying saucers near Mount Rainier on June 24th, 1947, mere weeks before the U.S. government issued and retracted a report of a crashed saucer near Roswell, New Mexico. So we got it first before New Mexico. Of course, number 4 is D.B. Cooper. Everyone knows who D.B. Cooper is. If you don't, then you don't really care about conspiracy theories. So basically what happened was this guy back in the year I was born, I was probably still in diapers when this all happened. D.B. Cooper jumped out the back door of a Northwest Orient 727 on a cold November evening in 1971. At the time of the famous jump, the jet somewhere above Washington, Oregon border, he jumped with $200,000 and a parachute. Who was he? Did he survive? And there have been people claiming to be DB Cooper, but nothing has ever been like confirmed, you know. And there's people that believe that that where they think he jumped out is not really where he jumped out. That he jumped out entirely in a different spot in the Northwest. He was going the wrong. They think he went in the opposite direction that people think he went. So, see.
By the way, I know it's 1971, and it is a lot of money in 1971, but still, I don't know if I would do that for $200,000.
I mean, if someone handed you a backpack full of money, and they said all you have to do in order to be able to spend this money is you have to do some parkour.
Parkour.
You're gonna be running around parkour,
Parkour!
parkour.
But so, what do you think happened with DB Cooper? Like, what do you think the real story is? Do you think he died? Do you think he died on the way out? Do you think?
Oh,
Do you think there was a DB Cooper? Do you think like somebody just threw the briefcase out and figured they'd go get it later? Like,
actually, it looks like we got a voicemail. Hold on, let me see if I can play this.
oh, what happened to the call?
I don't know why it didn't ring, but we got a call from Stephen Ward. You remember Stephen, right?
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Hey,
Is that our viewer?
Doug and Todd, it's Stephen Ward.
Or
How's
Stephen.
it going? I just happened
Told you it
to
was
tune into
Stephen.
your podcast. I think you said that no one would call, so I am calling and leaving a message. So anyway, I'm just listening to you guys talking about urban legends here. So anyway, join the pod. Talk to you later. Bye.
So Stephen is
We got a call.
an old friend of ours from.
Stefan is the best.
He and his twin brother were doing stand up when I first got into trying comedy back in the early 2013s, 2011.
Right, Stefan's brother Scott, who like Todd said, they're twins. Scott is who Scott doing stand up every week gave me the confidence to keep going. Because I was like, if Scott continues to do it, well then they can't mind me too much.
Yeah. And you know those two were they did dad jokes, and they were.
Stefan does my favorite dad jokes of all time.
I don't know why it didn't ring. It didn't ring, or I didn't hear it ring, or something happened. Maybe I should turn the volume up on the.
Yeah,
on
make
that.
it so you can hear the calls. We're doing a live call-in show. We need to know when the phone is ringing.
Maybe I should try calling him back since I have his number here. But
Start hounding people. We'll just start calling.
Hey, Stefan, go ahead and
every number down that ever
leave
calls,
a comment.
and we'll call
Leave
them
a
back
comment
during
on the
other shows.
stream and let us know if we can call you back. I'll call you back if that's okay. So when I first met these guys, both of them were telling dad jokes, and they were like groanable dad jokes, and you know it's a good dad joke if you're like, oh my god, dude, what the hell, and some of his dad jokes were just hysterical. I would groan, but at the same time I would be laughing my ass off.
I used to, so I never ended up doing this on stage, but whenever I would write like just a corny dad joke or any kind of a dad joke, I would put it down in a list called Scott Ward's Diary. And if I was ever going to tell him on stage, I was just going to pretend that I stole them all from Scott.
No, in fact, I think right around the time that I met those guys, I was looking for a job, and Stefan's like, "Hey man, they're hiring at Nintendo if you want to come fill out an application or submit your resume." I was like, "I worked there before. I don't know if I can go back, but I'll try."
They have a little picture of me that says "Do not admit."
I don't think I'm banned or anything, but I don't think they would see that. No, he left.
They have a sign that just says "No Todds."
Well, you know, to be fair, it was when I was in training at Nintendo of America. It was like 2007, and I was in training to do support for the brand new Wii and the DSi, which was the DSi was the handheld DS, and it was the first DS that had the camera on it. And so I was learning to do support with those, and I understood how to set up Wi-Fi and all that shit, and they showed us how to like reset the devices so if people are having problems, they can just do a reset and whatever else. And the problem I was having was the setup they had for looking up the information was this old like archaic info base from like 1982. and it was difficult to navigate because it was not intuitive at all. You couldn't just type in Super Mario Brothers and it would pull up. You had to open specific info bases for specific styles of games for specific systems, and it was always 3 or 4 or more layers deep before you find the answers you're looking for. And I was just like, why can't I just type in the keyword of what I'm looking for and it just pops up what I need? Doing all this extra shit is like counterintuitive. And like, well, this stuff works and we're not changing it. I was like, does it though? I'm a very tech savvy person and I'm having difficulty navigating this system. And so I think that was why I end up like I washed out of the training system, the training for Nintendo America, and I think I tried to go back later is when Stefan like said, hey, you know, they're hiring when you want to try out, and I submitted my resume to the headhunters for Nintendo, and I never got a call back. So I just assumed that they saw my name and looked it up in their info base, assuming they could
We've
find
tried
it.
this before.
And it says, yeah, he washed out. He didn't want to learn. I was like, I couldn't. It wasn't making any sense to me. It was confusing. I was frustrated, and I was annoyed by how fucking, you know, how clunky this looking for information was.
They were insulted by your feedback.
Yeah. Well, the upside to that work experience is I did get to meet the voice of Mario. So that was cool.
I know Stefan talks about that guy. He's met him before.
Yeah, I'm sure he has many times. He's been working there since I want to say like the mid to late '80s. He was working there out of high school, I think. So.
Yeah, he's been working there forever. He updates us every year.
Yeah, he's like I survived another 12 months working at Nintendo of America. I was like, I mean, you say that like it's a bad thing.
He's really good about posting all his various anniversaries, to the fact that we're like, I swear he was like posting his marriage anniversary like 3 times a year, but it's just because he notes the wedding, their first date, like their engagement, like he's on top of it.
Yeah, I mean,
and he works at Nintendo for a living. He's got it made.
Yeah,
we appreciate the call, Stefan, taking time out of your perfect life.
He has the job that everyone wanted. I think, if I recall correctly, he started as a game counselor. And
and tester.
Yeah, and then now he's a tester. He's been a tester ever since they closed the phone number for the game counselor. Yeah, I mean, you can call and ask questions now from customer service and tech support, but they're no longer game counselors. And
so just a reminder for people listening, this is the ADHP podcast with Doug and Todd, where we discuss Stefan and Scott Ward.
I mean, those guys are funny. I haven't seen them at actually, take that back. I saw Stefan like a month and a half ago, like beginning of the year, maybe. And it was the same night that, I'm trying to remember that guy's name. Pretty well-known comedian. He's like famous for doing like the Gene Simmons impression on Howard Stern. And
I feel like I should know who that is.
Yeah, and my brain is just like, no, I can see him in my mind's eye, and I can visualize the guy, and he's really funny. He talks about growing up in his mom and I think his sister or somebody else in his family. Both of them were born deaf and they can't speak, and apparently they have the darkest sense of humor of anybody in his family. And the reason, and I think both of his parents are deaf, and his sibling. He's the only one that can hear and talk. So, and I guess that's how he learned to like mimic other people, because.
Oh, Craig Gass. You're talking about Craig Gass.
Craig Gass, yeah. Now he's a cool dude. He seems like a cool dude anyhow. He comes down to Renton every once in a while when he's trying to work out some material. At the.
Craig Gass used to be on Facebook. His Facebook name was Craig Nobody That You Know, and then he would routinely show up under the People I May Know, and I was like, "That's a great bit." It's people you may know, Craig Nobody That You Know.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Facebook.
And Stefan just came up in the chat room and says, "Craig Gass is probably who you're talking about." Yes, yes, we figured that out.
We figured it out. We got it. We got there.
It's yeah. So yeah, it's I don't know why it didn't ring. Hold on, did I get another?
If the phone doesn't ring, it's me. Did you get another call?
I got another call. Hold on.
Hey, you guys, there's Stefan again. Hey, you guys are talking about me. I can't get through. I'm leaving a message again. Anyway.
Our phone lines are just so
jam-packed.
jam-packed. Stefan can't get through.
Anyway, and I can't type in a comment in a stream. I'm watching it on YouTube anyway. So just a heads up there, just to let you know. Anyway.
Yeah,
Great show, guys. Thanks for talking about me. Bye.
No problem. I don't know why it's not ringing through. I don't understand this. I have Do Not Disturb is turned off. Let me turn it back on and turn it back off again.
And is the volume up?
The volume is up. You were able to hear the voicemail.
But I mean, like the ringer volume.
You know what? Maybe that's it. Hold on.
Yeah, you got all your shit muted.
Do I need to adjust the ringtone on this?
This is like me during the workday. Oh, sorry, I missed your call. I was not paying attention.
Let's see.
My favorite detail is when I used to work reception at the front desk. That's where I started with my company. Was as a receptionist, and I'd get a call and I'd have to pass it through to the GM, and the GM would be like, "Who was it?" And I'd be like, "I realized I forgot to ask." And just be like, "I don't know. They sound nice."
Yeah, no, let me try restarting the app. There we go. Hey, Stefan, try calling in again. I'll be looking at my phone this time. So if it,
I mean, you've called in twice. You don't have to call in again. But if you want to, feel free.
Yeah.
Do we want to run through a couple more of these? We're at Caddy the Sea Monster. You want to?
Yeah. What is? Let's look at that real quick, because I don't know what that is. I've never heard of Caddy the Sea Monster. Caddy. Scotland has Nessie. Washingtonians have Caddy the Sea Monster. There have been over 50 sightings of Caddy since 1930 through the Washington side of Puget Sound and the Canadian Strait of Georgia area. Caddy has also been seen near shores of Alaska and Oregon. Huh.
What's it supposed to look like?
I mean, I suppose it looks like Nessie. It's the same kind of creature, I think. So you basically.
So it's a whale's penis.
You see a hump of some sort, or a whale's penis. It's entirely possible because we do get orcas out here.
It's probably just some like little kid that's like, "Oh, mommy, what's that?" That's Caddy the Sea Monster.
Yeah, that's totally not a dork. Which is the technical term
what is
for
Caddy? No, that's more like, what is Caddy the Sea Monster? Some dork.
It's funny. I remember where it was from, but somebody said in a movie that a dork is just a whale's penis. It was like, oh my god, really? So every time you call someone a dork, you're just calling them a giant penis.
That's true. It is true.
So.
Now I like this one. This number 2 on the list of Washington State myths: Lake Union Islands.
Yeah.
So springtime 1962, a couple of mysterious islands appeared not far from Gaswork Park in Lake Union. The Army Corps of Engineers think it was caused by dumping of fill dirt from the recent construction of I-5, and then University of Washington students quickly named one of the mystery islands Chelan Island, which makes me wonder, did the UW students go out on the island? Like, was it solid enough that you could go party on it like you're in Chelan?
Even if it wasn't, they probably did.
Help, I'm sinking through the island.
See, when I was in high school, people would go out to Lake Sammamish, and there was a sandbar out in Lake Sammamish that people used to go out to, and they would bring out their coolers and their folding chairs and just and boom boxes and listen to music out there. So yeah, it was just like a party spot at the lake, away from all the families.
Have you ever partied on Lake Chelan?
Lake Chelan, I've been to Lake Chelan when I was a kid. The year that Stripes came out, I remember.
So they didn't let you drink very much then?
I was a little kid, so no. The year that Stripes was in theaters is when we were out at Lake Chelan, because I remember seeing it at the Chelan movie theater.
All your references. It's like the year they came out with the wheel. That was when.
Fuck you, Doug. I'm not that old, man. I am that old man, though.
Get off my lawn.
The next one is actually something I've actually heard of.
Mel's Hole.
Mel's Hole, and it's actually the basis for that.
Sounds hot.
It's the inspiration for that TV show that had Thanos on it. Oh, the actor who played the older brother on the Goonies.
Oh, you're talking about James Brolin or whatever his name is?
Josh Brolin.
His son. Yes. Yeah. There you go.
Josh Brolin had a TV show. I think it was on one of the streaming services, and it was basically about this guy who had a ranch, and it has this mysterious hole on his ranch, and he would toss things in it, and things would disappear in it, and they would come back 2 or 3 days later, kind of thing. And I was reading up about this show because I was like, this is a cool show. It's a sci-fi show. And it had, I think, 2 seasons before it got canceled. And let me see if I can Google what the name of that damn show is. Josh Brolin Hole Ranch.
Quickly, Google Josh Brolin's Hole. Oh, wow, it's deep.
Okay. Oh, the show is called Outer Range.
I for the hot second, I thought you were going to say Outer Rim.
It's on Prime, so it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Outer Range, and it's about this rancher who finds this big ass hole out in the middle of his ranch, and I'm not gonna give away anything, but he falls into it, and then some things happen, and yeah.
And there's a whole drama to it.
Yeah. Oh, so Stefan says I'll call back once you finish the urban legend stuff. Okay, so we'll finish up on that then. And then, yeah, that's actually the last one. The Mel's Hole near Ellensburg. And this is what it says here. It says, the story of Mel's Hole is a mysterious and spooky pit located 8 miles west of Ellensburg near Manastash Ridge. He claimed it to be as deep as 80,000 feet.
80,000 feet.
So
wow.
The story I heard was actually, the original story I heard from this was on one of those Ancient Aliens shows on History Channel, and they were talking about Mel's Hole. I was like, why are they talking about some dude's butthole? I don't understand.
Why are they talking about Mel's Hole?
But so I'm sitting there listening to this, and it's like, yeah, apparently the government seized the land when he disappeared, and there's a fence around the property where this hole apparently is, and so. But yeah, no, I was like, why are they talking about some dude's hole?
Meanwhile, there's a hole in China where junk just starts falling out of.
Oh shit!
Where does it come from?
It's like the what was it? Australia, I think it was, started randomly a few years back. Started things. Remember the Garfield phone? The one that was you pulled the handset off his back.
And yeah.
The body was the base for the phone. And apparently these was randomly just showing up on the beach. I think it was Australia. And
the phone was?
The phones. They were just showing up on the beach. Just these phones.
A shipment of them had an accident? Yeah,
and for years they were randomly showing up on the beach, and then someone discovered that there was a container ship that lost some containers, and in one of the containers was a huge shipment of these phones, and they were just, after years of erosion and rust from the container, these packages of these phones are surfacing, and then the current is carrying them into the beach.
It's just nature's giving us our Garfield supply.
More Jim Davis merch that we didn't get back in the 80s, man. But yeah.
So that does it for that list.
Yeah.
So yeah, Stefan, if you want to call back in, go ahead. Todd may actually look at his phone this time.
I'm looking at it right now. I have his number right here. If he says okay, I will just call him directly, because apparently him calling in is not ringing through for some reason. But it might ring through this time because I reset the app. It's the Google Voice number, so it may because it's been on Do Not Disturb for so long. Maybe it doesn't know that it's not supposed.
It doesn't know how to ring anymore.
It doesn't know how to ring anymore. But yeah. No, I think we should definitely like talk Stefan into doing and his brother both into doing stand up again.
Yeah, well, maybe we can warm them up to the idea, get them to come on the show, and they can release some of their one-liners on here,
Yeah.
and we'll give them some good feedback and pressure them to get back on stage.
What jokes have they been using to like embarrass their kids?
Yes.
Did your dad ever do stuff to embarrass you while you're out and about?
You know, I mean, my dad was just kind of an embarrassment in general, but.
But did he purposely do and say things to like,
you know,
oh my
not
God, Dad,
really.
stop it. My dad, he'd be like, he would act like he was mentally incapable of breathing. And so he would go, hey, you guys, and basically trying to do an impression of Sloth from the Goonies. And he would yell in the middle of the grocery store, where you guys at? You know, I don't know you. I don't know you. Go away.
Oh, my dad would not, my dad would embarrass me just by like just start talking to an employee at a store and just right in the middle of the employee like helping another customer. My dad would just start talking to them and just go off for like 20 minutes.
Your dad is info dumping on this poor guy, and he's like, I don't really care about widgets and warlocks and whatever else.
Oh, we had my stepson, my younger stepson's 9th birthday this weekend, and we hosted a tie-dye and pool party at our house, and one of his friends is also the son of his resource teacher, so she came over too, and by happenstance she ended up sat next to my dad, and the entire party for like 3 hours straight he was just on her ear, just regaling her with his entire life story. I was like, should I go rescue her? And I was like, no, I have too much other stuff to do.
Yeah. No, my dad, he would do stuff like that, or he would ask stupid questions of employees. I'm trying to think of something he would say. It would just anything that would like cause anybody to like, oh my God, I don't know him. I don't. He's not my dad. Someone call the police, kind of thing.
I'm gonna wander away. I'm gonna start walking home.
You know what? I can catch a bus. Yeah. So.
In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll just walk out in front of one.
No, that was when my dad was, just trying to be silly or goofy. That wasn't when he was being like mean and nasty. He would say all kinds of horrible shit. You should never ever hear from your father.
Is your dad still around?
No, luckily for me, he died a couple years back.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he's I'm sure he's doing the backstroke with Hitler right now. But
oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
No, he wasn't a good guy. He was not a good guy. He's yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't mean to like start like info dumping about my dad. I'm sorry.
No, we should have done that for our Father's Day special.
Yeah, let's tell stories about how horrible our fathers are. Why we don't celebrate Father's Day.
Speaking of horrible fathers, do you want to do a story about Trump?
Sure.
So what do we got here? So we did have an unfortunate SCOTUS ruling this week. From CBS News, Supreme Court sides with parents who objected to kids' books on gender identity and sexuality. So the Supreme Court on Friday, this past Friday, ruled in favor of a group of Maryland parents who challenged their school district's decision to deny them the ability to opt their elementary-age children out of instruction featuring storybooks that address gender identity and sexual orientation. So we're talking, and I've heard this described in other outlets as basically a storybook that was like, this is a kid, and this kid has two dads, and it's perfectly normal to have
age
two
appropriate,
dads.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to, don't be don't tease this kid because he has two dads. That's the essence of the book, right? Two dads or two moms or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the High Court said in a 6-3 decision, which if you're for those keeping score at home, a 6-3 decision means it was the 3 liberals versus the 3 conservatives. It was a purely party line decision. In the case of Mahmoud versus Taylor, that the government burdens parents' religious exercise when it requires their children to participate in instruction that violates the family's religious beliefs. Justice Samuel Alito, of course, authored this majority opinion with the 3 liberal justices in dissent. And so this is just an example of our Supreme Court being a theocratic body. It's literally like you find something abhorrent to your religion, therefore you get to control everything else. Because what this ends up doing is if you have to run every curriculum by the parents first, it basically means you can't have this kind of stuff taught. The schools are just going to choose to avoid the discussion completely because they can't afford to have a lawsuit because they didn't clear Tuesday's lecture with all the parents that happen to admit that, 2 men are the parents of this one character in a book or something like that.
Right.
They can't take that risk that they're going to get sued over this stuff. So it's just going to go away. And they think that, Alito writes, we reject this chilling vision of the power of the state to strip away the critical right of parents to guide the religious development of their children. It's basically an attempt to basically saying you have the right to brainwash your children. You have the right to completely control what they are exposed to. And to hell with the consequences. Like, that's basically what they're saying. And it's the same thing in Washington State right now, where people on the right are up in arms over the fact that the Washington State legislature modified the Parental Bill of Rights. So the Parental Bill of Rights, we've mentioned it on an earlier episode of this podcast, was an initiative started piece of legislation that came about by, one of those Tim Eyman-like groups, where it's supposed to be parental rights in regards to children in schools and what parents have the right to know and can do. And the state legislature, as is their right, passed a new law that modified that initiative. And if you read the new actual parental rights bill, it's full of parental rights. It's not grounds for parents to keep their children brainwashed. It doesn't allow for it doesn't force schools to protect the children from overcoming their brainwashing. Do you get what I mean by that?
Kinda, yeah.
It's very confusing, so I want
really.
it'll help if you ask questions.
I'm also trying to figure out why it's not ringing through. He says it's
Fair
still going
Fair
to voicemail.
enough.
So what I did was I put I put the code in the chat for him or anybody else who wants to join the Google Meet.
Okay.
And I will, if I get a request to join, I will approve them to join if they want to. So.
But yeah, but there's parents on the right that basically want to be able to control what the school ends up doing. And they want to it's going to affect everyone's education because their religion has a problem with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, religion ruins everything. As far as
it
I'm
really
concerned.
does. That was a book maybe I will go use an Audible credit on it. But
what's the book called?
Christopher Hitchens, How Religion Ruins Everything.
Okay. Send me a message about that later because I'm not going to remember, and I want to check that out too.
Or How Religion Poisons Everything. God, what is it called?
I don't know.
Let me get this correct. Christopher Hitchens. Religion poisons everything? Question mark? Okay, yeah. God is not great. How religion poisons everything.
That tracks.
and just basically what the in this book, Hitchin posits that the organized religion is violent, irrational, intolerant, and allied to racism, tribalism, and bigotry. It's invested in ignorance and hostile to free inquiry. It's contemptuous of women and coercive toward children. And it's also sectarian. And that accordingly, it ought to have a great deal on its conscience. He supports his position with a mixture of personal stories, documented historical anecdotes, and critical analysis of religious texts. His commentary focuses mainly on the Abrahamic religions, although it also touches on other religions such as Eastern. The book sold well and received mixed reviews. So yeah, I've never read it, but I've watched him give lectures on it a lot.
Okay.
You know, Christopher Hitchens. I was first introduced to Christopher Hitchens during the Iraq War, actually, in opposition. He was a proponent of the Iraq War at the time because it was, you know, part of his war on Islam. You know, he doesn't like any religion, so he particularly hates Islam. And you'll notice that thread was also in like Sam Harris, who's one of the new atheists. He has a very anti-Islam bent, and that's one of the things that, like, I used to be a hardcore fan of Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins and
Dawkins. I have one of his books as an ebook.
I have The God Delusion, but I
That's the
lent
one.
it out to somebody and then I never got it back.
I have a digital copy of it if you want it. You just need to have like a PDF reader or something to watch.
Yeah, I also have more Audible credits than I ever care to use. So
I think the last Audible credit I used, or wait, no, I didn't. It wasn't Audible. It was Google Books. I used some Google points to buy "Still Just a Geek" by Will Wheaton.
Okay.
Which is an annotated version of his original book, and it basically the annotations are all like, "Yeah, I was a toxic person when I wrote this. I'm sorry. I don't think like that anymore, and this is why." And he explains why he doesn't act that way anymore. And I was like, he spends like 50% of the book just apologizing for all the shitty takes he had in like early 2000s.
Well, that was one of the things that turned me on Christopher Hitchens, and one of the things that turned him around as an individual so Hitchens has a very interesting life story. If anybody ever gets into his biography, he started as like a socialist activist in the 70s and 80s, and then he became this hard right-wing supporter, almost like almost a Margaret Thatcher style. Like he went that hard right, and then he supported the Iraq War. And he tried to make the claim that waterboarding was not torture.
Also, Stefan just commented on YouTube, loving all the scrolling Republican hypocrisy images. Unfortunately, the people that need to see this won't.
Yeah. Well, share it with them, Stefan. Share it with everybody.
Share the video with all your Republican family members and friends.
Yeah, put it in their face.
Assuming you have any. But, yeah, like I said, if you want to join the Google Meet call, that's the code in the chat. I also put my number on the scroll. If you want to call that number, that will ring through. I'm not going to say my number on the recording because I don't want people outside the live stream.
You don't want prank calls later?
I don't want prank calls later. But yeah, you can call that number on the scroll at the bottom of the screen, and that will ring through. Yeah, I think when you set if you set your Google Voice account to Do Not Disturb, it stays on Do Not Disturb. I don't think you can't unlock it for some reason. But
well, speaking of being disturbed, so Christopher Hitchens, right? He takes this position that waterboarding is not torture because he's backing up the Bush regime.
What? Okay.
So here's what he does though. He actually agrees to be waterboarded. He's so adamant that it's not torture, he agrees to be waterboarded. And I think it was part of a 60 Minutes episode that he did it on.
Oh.
But you can look this up. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
But just if you look up Christopher Hitchens waterboarded, he does it, I mean, quote unquote live. It wasn't airing live or anything, but
right.
He does it on camera. He gets waterboarded. And he literally stops it like instantaneously. Almost instantaneously, he stops it. He's like, Like he basically walks into this room going, it's not torture, it's not torture. He lays down on the bench. They put the cloth over his face. They start to pour water, and like immediately he's like, gets up, pushes it away. He's like, it's torture, it's torture, it's torture, it's torture. And he was changed like forever from that moment. It feels like because he made it his crusade to be anti-Bush from that moment forward. And then the rest of his career, as far as I know, was basically focused on the atheists versus pushing back on theists. And he would describe himself not just as an atheist, but as an anti-theist. He doesn't just not believe, but he thinks it's wrong. He thinks it's harmful to have those beliefs.
I mean, I don't disagree with that, honestly. I think that, religion, the way I've always looked at religion since I've, like, completely removed myself from it, is that religion is what is used to control the masses. You know, it's I guess the fall of the Roman Empire happened right around the time that the Roman Catholic Church became a thing. So,
yeah, I mean, there's in a lot of ways the Roman Catholic Church was just like rolling in. It was just a new way to do religions they already had in a lot of weird ways.
I mean, the Catholic Church is legitimately what they did was, you know what, we like that. We want to make that one of our holidays, so we're going to take pieces of that and add Jesus and Mary to it, and then call it something else. And then when we go to convert people to our religion and say, hey, we have a similar holiday as your rituals that you do on these days, join our church and you can still do them and also become Christian. So, and they're known for doing that. I mean, that's like every church related religion or holiday rather that we have here in the United States is basically borrowed from other religions.
Well, yeah, like Christmas comes from pagan rituals of
like from all. It's not even just one like pagan.
Easter comes from something else.
Like Easter eggs is something to do with like Norse religions. The Yule log is from a Norse holiday. The winter solstice.
Yeah. I mean, the whole reason we use the word God, as in the good, the god.
Yeah.
That comes from Norse.
Yeah, isn't that not Thor, Odin.
Woden and Thor, and yeah. There's a lot of overlap there, which of course they're also related. They're Indo-European gods, right? So they're actually related to the Greek and Roman gods too.
Yeah.
It all comes from this Indo-European family of religion, which traces back to a sky father that was Zeus Pater. So Djous is how you kind of pronounce it. Zeus, and then Pater, Pater, is father, is the Indo-European for father. So you'd have Zeus Pater, which is where you get Zeus from. It's also where you get Jupiter from. Zeus Pater, Jupiter.
Okay.
And so the Romans and Greeks both got their sky fathers from that same idea, and then Thor and Woden both kind of share similarities to that. And then, of course, all our days of the week are based off Norse mythology, or a combination thereof.
Thursday is Thor's day.
Friday Wednesday is Woden's day. Friday is
Freya.
Is Freya's day. Yep. And then we also have the Sunday, the Moon Day.
Okay.
And then Saturday is for Saturn, I guess. But
Saturn,
I don't know where that goes. I don't know how that fits in. What are we listening to now? Is that your ring?
Yeah.
We got a call?
Hello?
Hey, it's Stephen Ward. How are you?
Hey!
Finally working. Yeah, I think I had to restart Google Voice.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw you were doing a call-in show and figured, why not call in?
Yeah.
There you go.
We got a real caller.
Sweet. Yeah.
There you go. It's my wife's birthday, so I figured I'd call it the highest rated podcast going on right now. Shout out, happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday to your wife.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Miss Ward.
Yeah, 48, so she's no longer in her prime.
She's 29. She's 29.
It's her 20th anniversary of her 19th birthday.
Yeah. 47 is a strong number, so she's no longer in her prime.
I crossed the 40 line later this year, so I feel you.
Yeah,
I'm 50. Oh, yeah.
I crossed the 50 like 4 years ago. It will be 4 years in September. So
Anyway, you guys were all in on religion right now. There, I probably broke up all the momentum anyway.
no, I mean what was the
We're
last
just
thing you
filling
heard
time
us
waiting
talking
for
about?
you, bud.
Yeah.
No, you guys were talking about waterboarding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Apparently he discovered it was torture. So yeah.
Yeah. So.
Do you remember when that happened, Stephen? Do you remember him doing that?
No, that story. That's the first time I think I've heard that story actually. So.
Yeah.
But if it's on
you
YouTube, I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah, definitely check it out because it's hilarious how quickly he's just like, nope. He just nopes right out of it.
That's hilarious.
So how you been? Will you perform anywhere lately? You got any new jokes you want to share?
Well, I probably went up maybe a year and a half ago, back in the local 907 there in Renton. So, yeah, I did it hardcore for like 3 years. Comedy there. Actually, the first time I did that comedy was at Bender's there. Doug was the host and brought me up, and yeah. Anyway, and then the career took off from there, obviously. So.
we launched a lot of people at Bender's. Luke Severide, that was his first place.
Yeah.
Wasn't Andrew Wonders, or not Wonders, but Rivers, one of the guys too?
He was already going, but yeah.
Yeah. Big Irish Jay, Hollingsworth. I mean, he was the host of the partner, but yeah.
I could proudly say I'm the first person to pay Kelsey Cook to headline.
Yeah, she's doing really well right now, too.
You guys had Gabe Rutledge and stuff before he went?
Yep, we had Gabe, but of course Gabe was already established, but we can't take no credit there.
He'd already won the Seattle International Comedy Competition. But yeah, there were a lot of big names coming to Vendors, and they tore it down and put it in a Rite Aid or something. So
yeah, it's a CVS now, which is. But because it's Renton, I can go to the CVS and ask for a couple boxes of Sudafed, and they'll just give me meth.
That's right. Yeah, that's one of your classic jokes there, Doug.
I still got him.
City.
I told that joke in Honolulu.
Anyway. Yeah, I think the last time I saw you in person, Doug, was Silas's frozen carbonite.
The
he did like a launch party.
Yeah, the Nerds of Comedy show.
Yeah,
No, this was at the Underground. He had just recorded like a CD of like the Frozen CD, but he did a Star Wars spinoff or something like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Gosh, I can barely.
Yeah. Anyway, so.
Yeah.
He does.
I
actually still have that CD in my car. Frozen and carbonite.
Have you seen his show at Emerald City Comic Con? He does the Real Nerds of Comedy.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the show I was thinking of. I was on the first ever Real Nerds of Comedy, the first one he did at the Rendezvous.
Yeah, and he does it like once a year now at Emerald City Comic Con. And like 3 or 4 years ago, Jamal did it. He came from New York to do some comedy at Comic Con, and that was a fun weekend.
I saw you at the local one. Months ago or a year ago, I don't know.
It was like 6-7 months ago, I think. It was earlier this year, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were sitting on that side table by the window there. But,
yeah. That was I think it was the same night that Craig was there too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, a lot of people. Mike Taylor, he doesn't host there anymore because he's working up there. Like, still does comedy, but. And now that I moved from Renton to Covington, it's a little harder to get out to the local 907 there.
Oh, you're not living out here anymore? Okay.
Right now.
You're in Covington?
Yeah, I moved there 9 years ago. So.
Oh wow.
Yep, and then I drive from Covington to Redmond to Nintendo every day.
Holy shit!
But I've only been there 28 years. You guys, it was 1997. Anyway.
Okay. Overshot it a little bit.
That was nice. Anyway, no, I was a gameplay counselor when I first started there. You got that right. I got it.
See, Todd just wants everyone to be as old as he is. That's the thing.
No, I
Yeah, I
don't.
guess
I've become the guy who goes, back in my day, we had to rewind our tapes with a pencil. So,
Back in my day, Mario just climbed a construction site.
Yeah. You guys speaking of, have you guys checked out the new Nintendo Switch 2? Just came out.
I can't afford to rent one, let alone buy one, dude.
Yeah, I guess it is like $500, isn't it?
$600 for a portable gaming system. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm going to go ahead and get myself a PlayStation 5.
Yeah. No, that's the enemy though. Funny. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I had the OLED Switch, and I had it for like a year, and I played it for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then I realized I still had some like 3 or 4 months left on my first year of online, and I started playing on it, and then I let it expire, and I was like, yeah, I don't really want to spend money on that again. You know, I can play all those same games on my computer with no subscription. So.
Is it true that the Switch 2 is not an OLED?
I think it's 4K compatible if you have the option for TVs and stuff, you know. But I'm not sure that all the specs. To be honest with you, though, I even though I work in the testing department, I don't know all the technical specs, unfortunately. So, but obviously, there's a bit of offline to look up. You know.
Have they? Stephen, at the very least, have they upgraded the system you used to look up information? Because I remember that info base.
Oh yeah, you're talking about that. Yeah, no, it's a little faster than back in the day. But no, when I was in the call center, it was a little convoluted. You didn't know where you were looking.
It was.
A long time.
You had to go 6 layers deep just to look up like platforming video games, and then you could search for Mario Brothers, and it would come up. But you couldn't just type in Super Mario Brothers.
No, but that was when I was a gameplay counselor. People were calling, $1.50 a minute, and you had to find the information fast and give it to them. So yeah, even though stuff was buried in there, you had to know where to look and give them the info as fast as possible, so they wouldn't, complain. They paid all this money for nothing.
I think I've told you this before, but because I grew up in Issaquah, we were in the same area code as Nintendo of America. So when I called the game counselors, it was a local call for me. I didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
It wasn't a 900 number?
No, it was a local Redmond phone number, and if you called from outside of Redmond, or outside of Issaquah even, if you called from Seattle, it was a long distance call. If you called from Renton, it was a long distance call. But if you called from Issaquah or Redmond, it was local.
Yeah, and then eventually the gameplay line changed to a 1-900 number, probably in the early 90s or so. I'm guessing. I joined in 97.
When I got my Nintendo, the NES was what I had, and I had it was the one that came with Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers, and it had the gray on gray zapper, and one controller.
That was my original Nintendo.
So.
Yeah.
But
I got mine in 1988, and I've only ever owned Nintendo products, actually, honestly.
That was my very first.
You're a loyal soldier, Stefan.
Yeah, grew up with Nintendo, and then once I found out they were local, I was like, that's where I want to work. And 28 years
living the dream.
I'm still working.
Hey, Stefan, do they still have the Pikachu Beetles?
Nintendo doesn't. I think they've either got rid of them. They actually had some up for auction way back in the day, or a contest to give them away, but I haven't seen any time. I didn't get a chance to drive. Actually, I drove Mr. Miyamoto in one of those back in '99.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of cool. So, I driven both the Pikachu Beetles and the Chrysler PP Cruiser across the country in the day. So.
When I worked there in '07, it was parked outside in the parking lot, right out in front of the public store that you could go in from outside. You can go in there. It was parked out front, and I remember talking to somebody online. And I was like, "Yeah, I work at Nintendo of America. We have the Pikachu Beetle parked right outside." I was like, "Take a picture of it next time you go home." I was like, "If it's still there, I'll take a picture of it when I'm walking by it to go to my car," and I did. And they're like, "Oh my God, it really is there." I was like, "Yeah, there's 2 of them." They had 2.
Yeah. I think I drove one from, what was it? It was, I want to say L.A. No, sorry, we finished in L.A. I think it was actually Louisville. no, God, St. Louis. We started in St. Louis and we drove to LA with the Pikachu Beetle, and then the Chrysler PT Cruiser Lugia one came out with the Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Silver. I drove that one from Tucson out to Fort Knox, Kentucky. So, anyway, those were good times way back. That was like 25 years ago. Wow.
Wow. So how many times have you met Charles, the guy who voices Mario?
Oh, I have handled with times. I've had dinner with them back at different events back in the day and stuff. But saw him every year at E3 when E3 was still a thing in LA.
Oh wow.
So got my picture taken with him. But obviously he's unfortunately no longer the voice of Mario, but he's still a Nintendo ambassador.
I mean, he's no longer the official voice, but he still does like conventions and stuff as the voice.
Yeah, he's always going to be the voice of Mario to me and millions of other people.
I think he was just at SummerCon last weekend.
Speaking of SummerCon, Stefan, I don't know if you listened last week, but did you hear about Todd and I's little adventure?
We drove down to Puyallup to the fairgrounds, thinking we could buy a ticket at the gate, at the Blue Gate, thinking they would have tickets. They were sold out online, so I figured they have to have some at the gate, right? So we drove all the way down there from Renton. He came over from Port Orchard to my house, grabbed me, and then we went down to Puyallup. And we got down there. Now they're sold out. So if you have a code, we can scan you in. Yeah, I was like.
And then of course that was the same day that the guy from Cobra Kai got kicked out for biting his co-star at the con.
Oh, I did hear about that story. Okay.
Yeah,
same time, huh?
I was like, holy shit, we missed all kinds of excitement. And someone says, that's not excitement, that's sexual assault. I'm like, wait, what? I guess I didn't read the whole thing. I just saw that they were in the news on Cairo 7 here in Seattle. And I went back and looked at the article, and he bit her. And apparently it drew a little bit of blood. And so he got 86 from the con, and he's never welcome back.
He apparently walked up behind her, and like his way of being like, "Hey, it's my co-star," like rather than just like tap her on the shoulder, he like bit her arm and then started playfully kissing it.
Well, the way I read it was she tapped him on the shoulder, and he just reached over and bit her hand.
Oh, is that okay? That's how it went. Okay,
yeah,
that makes more sense.
And she's like, "Ow!" and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bite that hard."
It's like an arm came near me. You know how I am.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, well, I shouldn't keep you guys. I know you got tons of callers. I don't want to.
All one of them. You're the only one who's communicating with us.
Before they come at us with pitchforks. But thanks for calling, Stefan. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for
hopping on. No problem. Did you guys record every Monday? Or?
We have been recording on Mondays. We might, at some point I'd like to get back to Sundays. But it's because of my schedule we're doing Mondays right now.
It's like, I want it to be consistent with what we're doing. It's like, things have come up where he just was unable to record. I'm like, all right, let's just do it on a day you have nothing else scheduled, or there's no honeydew list for you. He goes, well, Mondays is that day. It's like, well, let's do it on Monday then. So.
But it goes up. It posts. It posts every Tuesday if you have it on anywhere you get podcasts.
As long as I don't have to do any tweaking to the video or the audio, I could just post it. It'll be live on your favorite podcasting app.
There you go. Well, 14 episodes in, and countless more to go. So congrats, guys, and we'll talk to you later. All right, have a good night. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks Stefan. Have a good night, man. All right, well, he did it. He proved me wrong. We got a caller. We got a live caller on the line. That was awesome. Thanks, Stefan.
Yeah. Now, Stefan's a good guy. Every time I've seen him, he's always nice. So, yeah.
And then just to double check before I move on, we don't have anybody else in the queue, do we?
No, I haven't had any other notifications. Let me take a look at Google Meet real quick. No requests. At least not that I'm seeing here. Let me check. Nope. All right. Yeah, the audio on that was not great. But
I wasn't sure if that was just my end because of how things sound bad on my end.
I mean, it's Bluetooth, so it's it sounded really.
And it was okay though.
At one point, it got a little pixelated sounding. So,
Yeah,
But
it did. But
overall,
for the most part, I can understand what he was saying, and if I can understand it over my stream, we should be okay for the
yeah.
feed. So before we get out of here, I do have another news story.
Okay.
A troubling one. This is just this is some new data that fucks with my head. Because from where I stand, and you tell me, Todd, if everyone had turned out to vote that was eligible to vote, who do you think would have won the last election?
Kamala.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Don't you like slam dunk?
Yeah. No, and I think that, I mean, because we kept hearing stories of like fires breaking out in the vote box. You know, those outdoor boxes where they would collect their
Yeah,
absentee
the vote
ballots.
box,
Someone firebombed one down in like Vancouver, Washington, and I think someplace in Oregon as well. And of course the digital manipulation too is always a conspiracy that, you know, Elon did something to the voting machines to not count or switch the vote from one to the other. I don't know if that's true, but that's something I keep hearing. So.
But here's the thing though. So Pew apparently does this research after every election. At least they have for the last few. And they are saying, Pew is a research a pollster basically, but they're a research firm. Trump still would have won in 2024 even if everyone had turned out to vote. Pew finds.
Bullshit.
That's what I think, but
Bullshit.
Trump won in 2024 with just under 50. This is coming from NPR, by the way. Trump won in 2024 with just under 50% of the vote, 49.7 to 48.2 over Democrat Kamala Harris. Roughly 64% of the eligible voting population turned out in 2024, the second highest since 1904. 2020 was the highest. But even if everyone who could vote did, Trump would have won by an even wider margin, 48% to 45%, according to Pew's Validated Voters Survey. So again, this is just a survey. It's a post-election survey of almost 9,000 voters, so it's a pretty substantial population. It's a pretty substantial sample. But voters, this almost 9,000 voters was conducted in the weeks after the 2024 presidential election. Pew verified whether they had voted or not over the last 5 presidential elections using publicly available commercial voter files. For context, most well-conducted national polls include roughly 1,000 interviews. So this is about 9 times that. So it should be powerful. However, what really matters is how you select those 9,000. Like, is it truly random selected? What is it? Is it weighted in any way? But what happened is Pew asked non-voters how they would have voted and found they would have broken for Trump 44% to 40%.
Oh, wow.
Now this is where there's room to disagree with this, is because they're basically saying after the election, who would you have voted for? And it's like, okay, well, do I say the winner or the loser? It's who's, but this is an interesting thing, is it's a big change from 2020 and 2016 when the people who didn't vote said they would have chosen Democrats. So in 2020, they said they preferred Joe Biden 46 to 35, and in 2016, it was Hillary Clinton 37 to 30. So it went from 37-30 for Hillary, 46 to 35, an 11-point gap for Joe Biden, to Trump plus 44 to 40. So that upends a longstanding belief in politics that higher turnout generally helps Democrats. Younger and non-white voters who tend to vote Democrat are also among the least likely to vote. But in 2024, Trump's coalition grew. It got more ethnically diverse and younger, which is scary.
Yeah.
In 2016, almost 9 in 10 Trump voters were white. 88% were white. In 2024, it dropped by 10% to 78%. Meanwhile, Harris's coalition got whiter. 64% of Harris's voters were white compared to 60% in 2016 for Clinton. And I think this is reflective of the decision to campaign heavily with the Cheneys. basically the idea to run a bulwark style right-leaning strategy, it did its job of making the Harris voters more white, of getting more white people to vote for Harris, but it's at the cost of her base.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see this or not. It's my Harris T-shirt.
Yeah, that's the one you were wearing when we were.
Yeah.
Was it when we went to the con? Or?
I think so. I was wearing it that day. Yeah.
And but here's the thing, though. So 15% of Biden's voters did not vote in 2024.
Yeah.
5% switched to Trump, and 1% voted for someone else. That's compared to 11% of 2020 Trump voters who sat it out, 3% who switched to Harris, and 1% who went for someone else. But that 15% of Biden voters not voting, like that to me is the ballgame right there.
Yeah.
Like there was 15% of Biden voters did not vote, 11% of Trump voters did not vote. That's your 4% right there.
Yeah.
Trump netted 4% by losing less.
I don't know. I think they really should like do a recount. I don't know if they can at this point. If it's
No, they certainly cannot. But it's just, I mean, they can do a recount like the media could do a recount, like sort of like what they did in Florida in 2000. Like they could pay for a research firm to do it, but you're never going to really know if that's the true number. But what I want to know is this bit of fact finding by Pew, is this poll enough to have to stop laying the Trump regime at the feet of people who didn't vote?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like that's because I mean, we've admittedly been hard on people that don't vote, and not just us, but everybody on our side. It really feels like they're the people that let us down, and I still disagree with this data, but I guess until we see more, we kind of have to cut them a break, and maybe that's for the best. Like maybe we should be saying, hey, it's not about did you go and vote for the lesser of two evils. It's let's give people something to vote for. Let's not worry about chastising people over their lack of a vote when maybe it wouldn't have mattered. But what we need to do is go out and put out something that makes them want to vote. Let's get people excited about voting. Let's give them something to vote for. And that's something we saw. I don't know if you heard about this. Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani, in New York. You heard about him?
Yeah. He's basically going to be the new mayor, I think, at this point.
Well, he won the Democratic primary, so some places are reporting it as he's a slam dunk for mayor. Eric Adams and Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, are going to challenge him. But if Cuomo stays in the race, after talking to Stefan, I keep wanting to call him Mario Cuomo, but he's Andrew Cuomo. If he stays in the race, that'll help Mamdani. But Zoran is a Democratic socialist who aligns with the Democratic Party, but he's a Democratic socialist who is actually campaigning to give New Yorkers things they want, and it's working. It's actually getting young people and a majority of Democrats to vote. It's getting people out there.
Yeah.
Do you want the other
So-
half of mine here?
Sure.
You might as well.
Wow. Thank you, sir.
Free drinks.
Yeah, roommate just handed me
Where's-
it's called Irish Death.
Well, let him know mine's empty. I could use one.
Doug wants one too.
Irish Death is a good stout.
Yeah, that's pretty tasty.
Yeah, I do like it.
So I was playing with an AI earlier today, and I sent Doug one of the ones I did. But
So that was something you actually made. I was confused about what I was seeing.
It's called tryparrotai.com, and you can select a celebrity voice and put in words, and it will generate a video. I made one using 3 different voices, and I'm gonna see if I can get this to play. Hold on.
And the clues all point to
Can you hear
it
that?
was old man
Yeah.
Trump and Mr. Musk.
I would have gotten away with it because I have the concepts of a plan, but you meddling kids and your Antifa.
And I would have gotten away with it if it hadn't been for you meddling kids.
What do you think?
That I think that's a one. I want those as drops.
Well, I mean, I have them saved in the Google Drive, so you can grab them if you want. And I can put them on the board too. But no, I was just thinking, I was like, what if we turned Trump and Musk into Scooby-Doo villains, and then AOC is like one of the kids. You know.
Oh, okay.
And then
yeah, AOC would be a good Velma.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And then I did another one too. Let's see, open up. I did this one because this is one of the first ones I did.
Hey guys, it's me, AI Kevin Smith. You are listening to ADHP with Doug and Todd, man.
Oh, that sounds so cool. It sounds so much like him.
yeah, and then I did. Where's
this feels wrong though.
These are all AI. These are not real, folks. I'm not trying to present them as real.
Hey fellas, I want to ask you a question. Are you really going to use AI to have celebrities on your podcast?
Yes. Yes, Joe, we are. So all the other voices on here are like, Donald, Joe Biden, Obama, Andrew Tate, Joe Rogan, of course you heard, Ben Shapiro. I have one of Ben Shapiro. I'm not sure if I should play it. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it.
Wet ass.
Where is it? Oh, here's one. I'm gonna play this one.
Hey guys, does this catheter make my junk look big?
Maybe we could play a game. Oh, this would be good for a future week. Okay. Is come up with however many you want to come up with, and see if I can guess who they are based on the voice. Like Trump would be easy, obviously, but some of these could be tough.
Like here's.
Hey guys, do you think if my wife leaves me that I could be Trump's pool boy?
Are you writing these, or where are the words?
I put the words in their mouth. Yeah.
That's awesome. That was great.
This website allows you to.
That Ben Shapiro one. That one. I want that one.
These are all in the Google Drive, so you can grab them if you want. They're videos, but I can also make them MP3s if you want. Here's one that it was kind of this one's really dark. I'm sorry if it offends anyone. I thought it was kind of funny because I have a dark sense of humor.
If you're sensitive, earmuffs.
Hey guys, I wanted to ask you a question. Were people really surprised by how I died? It's not like I was hit by a bus. I was fecking around and then I found out.
What's funny to me though is I'm assuming that's supposed to be Steve Irwin.
Yes.
But it sounds like Jim Jeffries. Is that the right name?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does kind of sound like him, doesn't it? And then I made this one.
My name is AI Optimus Prime, and you are listening to ADHP with Doug and Todd. You can find them on Spotify and YouTube, as well as your favorite podcast app.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. What else? Let's see. I have... This one cracks me up too. These are all the words that they're saying I wrote into this thing, and it just generated a video.
Hey guys, I want to ask you a question. Why do people hate the Cybertruck, and why do they call me the Cybercuck?
I like how it ends with an like there's like he's gonna say more, but he's cut it off.
Let's see.
Hey guys, do you think I will be the next president? Also, should I make Jasmine Crockett my vice president?
Yes, and yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I don't know if they'd win or not, but
I would vote for them. Yeah.
I'd roll with it. Throw it out there, see what sticks.
And then this one, it sounds kind of robotic to me, but I don't know. Maybe you'll know who this is.
Hey fellas, I wanted to ask you a question. Are you ready for the new Naked Gun reboot, starring me as Lieutenant Frank Drebin Jr.?
I am a man with a particular set of skills.
Right.
I will find you and I will kill you. Obviously, that was Kermit the Frog, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, there's Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, Michael Jackson, Snoop Dogg.
All the greatest hits.
Ted Cruz, Jake Paul. And then there's a bunch that people have uploaded to this site. There's Super Mario. There's Rick Sanchez. Let's see if I can get to actually do live here.
Yeah, if we don't we're not getting any more callers, so we're gonna invent our own callers.
I mean, honestly, I wanted to do that with my last podcast, just because we would tell people to call this number and leave voicemails, and we would respond in the next episode. I was like, why don't I just make some up?
Which, by the way, why don't we tell people that you can call the number and leave a voicemail anytime during the week, and we'll listen to them next weekend, and we'll respond as applicable.
The one that's currently on stream, if you're watching this live on YouTube, or if you're watching this YouTube video, that's my personal number.
Okay.
So,
do you have the voicemail number?
the voicemail number is the number I sent you. And hold on, let me pull it up, because off the top of my head, I don't know it.
But we should start putting that in the podcast description, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 425-243-7571. And that's a voicemail or text message. You can send text messages to it. You can leave a voicemail. If you have questions or comments about the show, leave them there, and then we will play the audio if you send us a voicemail, or we will read the text message on the next episode.
So it's 425-243-7571?
Yep, that is it.
Cool. Well, I think that wraps it up for this week. It is 10 o'clock. We've been out here for a little over an hour and a half. Had one fantastic call and a couple of fantastic voicemails. Thanks again, Stefan. We will keep you guys posted on when we do future live call-in shows. I don't know. If people like this format, maybe this is just the format we go with in the future. Yeah. A little more relaxed. Take calls if we can, and we can just chit-chat over our different stories, trading stories, and that sort of stuff. Let us know. Give us some feedback. If you like this format better than the traditional format, give us put that in a note. Leave it on a Facebook comment. DM me if we're that kind of friend.
Stefan actually put in the chat on YouTube, I still have a hard time believing that millions of ballots in swing states had Trump at the top of the ticket, but then had all Democrat candidates down at the down ballot. That seems hella sketchy to me.
That would seem sketchy to me. I need to see some citation of that actually happening. I think more of what happened is people put Trump on their top of their ballot and then didn't even fill out the rest of their ballot. I think that probably happened a bit.
And then we got another comment from Wang Chung. I think this is probably a troll. It says, "Are you still bringing Wings of Redemption on?" I don't know who or what that is.
Are we still bringing Wings of Redemption on? Yes. Just keep tuning in every week, and eventually we will have that.
So I just did another one on that website, tryparrotai.com. See if this plays.
Hey guys, whoop-a-dub-dub.
Did you hear that?
I did not.
Okay, well it shows. It looks like it played on the EQ.
Oh, so everyone but me gets to hear it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Let me see if I can download it as a video. And
it's okay. I do listen to the show after it's done, so I'll hear it then. But
I put it in the Google Docs. You'll be able to see it and watch it there.
But seriously, folks, let us know if you like this format better than the normal format, and we'll do it more often. I still like the idea of having a main topic every now and then when there's something I really want to go in deep on. But I had more fun this week than I have had the last few weeks. This was more fun for me.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a little drunk.
I think doing it less structured and just more freestyle is probably a lot more fun.
That's what I thought this show needed, was less structure and less prep.
I think just in general having fun with podcasting is way better than
Yeah. So we're looking for your feedback, folks. Let us know how you want this show to go forward.
Wang Chung, I think, is a troll. He's now saying, also, is TDS a curable disease? You guys might be in luck. Yeah, I don't have that. TDS.
The only cure for TDS is, well, I guess I can't say that on if there's people listening, I can't say.
Voting Democrat.
But I'm just going to say nobody should do it. That's all I'm going to say is nobody should do it.
Yeah, the day that it happens, everyone will be cheering in the streets.
Yes.
We all know what we're talking about, right?
I think so. But yeah, I got to get out of here. This was a great show, though. Thanks to Todd for making it happen. Thanks to Stefan for the call. Thanks to Wang Chun for giving us a little bit of your time and attention. We'll take any views we can get. Until next time, remember to like and subscribe. This has been the Attention Deficit Hyperactive Politics. Go ahead and take us out, Todd.